All right, folks, welcome back. This is Chicago Ted coming to you with game number 2 of Elite Wolves versus Luccini Gaming. Of course, Elite Wolves did take game number 1, as is evident by, well, I guess the betting odds show that that should have happened. But Luccini, I mean, they brought their A game, man. So, of course, the guy I'm speaking to right now is none other than Snugs. How you doing?
Great, man. And yeah, the betting odds might have been skewed one way, but it definitely didn't feel like that at
Yeah.
all up until like the last maybe 5 minutes or so. Let that fool you. This Luccini definitely came to play, and they definitely showed that, especially in the first, I'd say at least 3/4 of the game before they just kind of started to fall apart. It seemed the Spectre
Yep.
just seemed to get blown up out of nowhere.
Well, we talked about how Ewo was doing pretty well in lane as that Morphling, and he definitely itemized incredibly well and made use of the fact that he was top of the net worth, top of the CS. So, great play from E-Wolves there, recognizing their winner of opportunity. I think you mentioned it best. As soon as the supports hit level 6 and they had their Ice Blast and they had their Magnetize, then things started going south really quickly for Luccini, and Monsiati just was not able to stay alive and do what he was drafted to do, which is just be a constant source of damage through the fights, burn them down quickly, and then leave no survivors. So Elite Wolves will ban out their very own Earth Spirit, as well as taking away the IO. Luccini ban out their very own Death Prophet and take away the Lone Druid.
Yeah, they've already gone through that. They don't need to experience it again. The Death Prophet showing to be incredibly powerful in lane, but she did have quite a bit of help, which maybe kind of sacrificed things in the other lanes. But looks like they're gonna go
Oh
with the Open
no.
Devour this time. So
Ah,
not
what
a
a
fan.
hero. We talk about the Invoker and Nurse that came out recently, but OD still hasn't been touched, guys. So, yeah,
Balanced hero.
I, I don't know. I don't think he's as OP as people make him out to be. It's more of a blanket statement, I guess. I make when I say I don't like the hero just because I hate playing against him in pubs. But a pub is not a pro game, so can't really bring anecdotal evidence into this. But OD still offers a wide variety of different options to play the game. I mean, he most certainly has the tools to dominate the mid against most other common mid matchups, and can snowball pretty well into the mid to even the late game. Of course, he does kind of drop off a little bit as other heroes' stats start to get a little bit higher and his HP pool starts to seem like it's not getting any higher. But in the mid game, he is a beast. You just cannot let him survive long in a fight, or he'll steal way too much intelligence and two-shot most of your heroes, not to mention Synergy's Eclipse becoming an end-all nuke in many scenarios.
I think another thing that people kind of forget about too is the essence are just having that active in team fights for heroes that like the
Yeah.
Omni Knight, who like to cast a lot of game and fight changing spells, be able to consistently keep that mana pool up. Something too that's kind of overlooked. I haven't seen a first pick Omni in a while. I'm very excited. Love the hero.
First pick Omni Knight, though. I mean, calls into question, are they going to pull the popular bait and switch where they draft up an Omni Knight and be like, yeah, we're drafting our support Omni Knight, and then bam, mid Omni, which actually would
Oh
probably be
god.
terrible against an Outer World Devourer, but still, a man can
Yes.
dream.
Yeah, I mean offlane Omni isn't terribly uncommon. I think the last time I saw mid Omni Knight was like the original Captain's Draft with the original Fnatic lineup when Hani took mid Omni, but who knows? Who
Oh
knows?
boy,
This
it's
is
an
an
Omni
H
Knight
combo
Ursa.
combination.
So all they need now is some sort of stun or slow, maybe a dazzle, which might actually just be a little bit too defensive, but any sort of real slow or stun could be fantastic with this because you lock Ursa or you lock the enemy in place, Ursa runs at them, purify, and then, well, Ursa's got a massive ton of damage. This also brings to mind whether or not E-Wolves might try a level 1 Roshan. I mean, of course, they've got the Degen Aura if they want to, or even the Purify if they just want some burst heals. But I really like this Witch Doctor pick because it's one of those things where, yeah, Ursa can run aground and get really, really powerful and deal a lot of damage, but Witch Doctor can, or not his Maledict, his Paralyzing Cask can stop this Ursa pre-BKB quite effectively, and the Maledict also can prevent him from being able to do things like blink out if he ends up overcommitting a little bit.
See, what I'm curious though is it's the Witch Doctor ultimate is physical, Guardian
Right.
Angel prevents physical damage, so I'm just curious about the placement of the Omni Knight because the AoE isn't fantastic. So if he's going to be in the middle of a fight to be able to mitigate all the Death Ward damage, it's going to be. And I'm also concerned
Yep.
if the Omni Knight's going to be like kind of babysitting the Ursa, like giving him that free BKB, because like you mentioned, that paralyzing cast can be just
Right.
so annoying because you know you can take him down, you just can't physically get to him, So I'm
All
wondering if
right.
he's just going to be a babysitter for the little bear for Fuzzy Wuzzy, but
Well, and that's why I say pre-BKB because it's like Ursa can be a monster if he's got the magic immunity, and having that free BKB from Omni Knight definitely throws a little bit of a wrench in the air for the Witch Doctor. And as you said, Guardian Angel, it does block out the physical damage because it nullifies physical damage. So it's going to be very potent against the Witch Doctor's Death Ward, and it won't help if the repel isn't on Ursa because there's plenty of magical damage coming out from Luccini, but if you've got both, then this Ursa is going to be impossible to bring down. You can't disrupt him, you can't stun him, and you sure as hell can't do that much damage to him, especially when in conjunction with his Enrage. There's nothing you can do to him.
I'm curious to see what he will span out next because I mean when you first pick an Omni Knight, you have to expect that a defusal is coming at some point from even unconventional heroes that don't typically pick it up will go
Yep.
for it.
Well, it's a
But
unique attack modifier. The only thing it doesn't stack with is other sources of mana burn. So Outer World Devourer can technically pick up a Diffusal. It's decent intelligence, but I'm imagining we might see another Diffusal Blade Picker, and there are plenty of heroes that do go Diffusal Blade as a very decent item. I mean, Spectre's still in the pool. If you want to run her, is known to be fairly good against the Ursa. But they've got to be very careful about this because when you've got an Ursa and an Omni Knight, we're looking at a combo which is undefeated so far. I mean, not a few, it's only 3 games played, but it still shows to be very potent. And Ewell has shown to be a very good carry player. But with a Gyrocopter pick, this is kind of interesting because it calls into question what kind of lanes are we actually going to expect from E-Wolves? Are we going to see an aggressive off lane from Ursa and Omni Knight, which could be very problematic because now that Ursa are Oracle's in the pool, that is a tough one to deal with. I mean, Oracle pretty much nullifying everything so far. I actually don't know too much about Oracle's interaction with Omni Knight, but I'm guessing you can't cast Fortune's End on a repelled target.
Enchantress.
yeah, the damage type is magical, so that's correct. But that's those 2 heroes you don't really see go at it. So I totally feel your pain in there. I don't really know how they're gonna clash, but hey, we're gonna find out together, I guess, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Fortune's End does not pierce spell immunity, so you can't cast it on a BKB or otherwise pure repelled target. So yeah, not being able to purge it off actually doesn't make it as big of an issue as I figured it would, but at least for the early game, when the repel is not up 100% of the time, it is going to hurt this Ursa quite a bit. So the Enchantress being in the pool is kind of making me wonder because Omni Knight, Enchantress, or Gyrocopter, 2 of those heroes have to be a support, I guess, because none of these heroes seem to be a very viable mid option for them. Maybe the Gyrocopter, but even then it's kind of awkward. I would imagine we see, if anything, a Enchantress Ursa Omni Knight with Enchantress more of a jungle but rotating in and a Gyrocopter solo, but even that just kind of seems weird. I'm confused actually.
I think they're. I mean, I am too actually. Like, I really
Legion Commander.
I feel your pain, but I think they'd be okay if they do dual lanes, honestly, because as support Enchantress obviously want her to have be close to the jungle, so you might see your off lane Omni Ursa.
Right. So you're thinking that these 4 heroes will be in dual lane scenario, and then
Yeah,
they
because you don't
draft
want
up
to
a
send a
mid.
gyro mid.
Yeah, you don't
want
want
to.
to. I don't think you want to send any of these guys mid.
No, God no.
I mean, unless they think Lucchini's going to run a safe lane Outer World Devourer, which I don't think would be a very smart pick either. So I mean, we might see a Venge coming out for this last Elite Wolves pick. I mean, Venge tends to be somewhat strong in the mid lane. But really, I mean, what do you pick against an OD? It's there are so few heroes that you can reliably grab that can deal very well with the Outer World Devourer, and
5 seconds.
I don't
I
know.
think the Wind Ranger might be one of the best because she's a int-based hero, but she can deal damage.
Reserve
She can
time.
stay far away. She has
Oh,
evasion to get away if she actually gets gone on, like if Witch Doctor or Oracle decide to rotate. And honestly, if you can build like Force Staff, I mean, I know it's not common because you want to go for the DPS and lock down with the Blink Dagger, but
right.
I've seen Scythe built. Uh,
Hmm.
so I mean, it's maybe not the most like clutch or go-to pick, but it offer them something they don't really have because I don't see a single viable stun. The homing missile.
And on that note,
The shack will
10
be a little bit
seconds
more
to
reliable.
go.
where do you think Luccini are going to go? Do you think this is going to be an off lane or a jungle Legion commander, if anything? Like, where do you think? I think they're going to grab another core coming up, but what do you think it's going to be?
Honestly, I have no I have no idea. I hate jungle heroes. I know that the Iron Talon makes everything more viable in the jungle, but I just find that Legion especially is very very strong in lane. Even with like a value point and overwhelming odds helps with the wave clear, helps last hitting,
Mm-hmm.
even if lane's kind of at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so Puck, that's another good
Dyer's pick.
base hero to give some the
It's
initiation, a little bit of
yeah.
burst damage, some lockdown. I like it.
It's pretty alright. I definitely like the silence coming out from it too. I think Outer World Devourer is now going to be forced to have to go for that BKB if he wasn't it wasn't forced already to do so. I mean, this entire roster of Elite Wolves is kind of forcing out BKBs, but Legion, I definitely like her as a laner more than anything. We'll have to see what they decide to do though as the Viper gets picked up. And that leads me to believe maybe this is going to be the bait and switch. Maybe they will send the Outer World Devourer as a safe laner and have the Viper mid. No, Codigo's their safe lane carry, so it is going to be Monsiati on the Outer World Devourer mid and Sword on the Legion Commander off lane.
If this is a Viper trial lane, I feel very very sad for whoever's going up against. There's
Even a
really
Viper dual lane is just straight bull to deal
just a
with.
Viper lane actually. It's a Viper lane.
Yeah,
It's just
Viper
honest,
1v5.
be honest.
I mean, nowhere near as OP as someone like an Outer World Devourer. Like Viper, it wins lanes. Outer World Devourer wins lanes and win games. So I think Codigo, he doesn't have quite that many options to go on this Viper. Vipers tend to build very two-dimensionally, whether they go into a mechanism or if they don't, probably just a Sanjin Yasha or Aghanim Scepter. But Elite Wolves, they've got Ewo on their Gyrocopter, which means it's going to be their carry. Van is an off-lane Ursa with support from M-God on that Omni, so it is going to be that dual off lane. And of course, as usual, Smash will be playing in the mid on the puck, guys. If you're just joining us, this is game number 2 of the 2-game series between Luccini and Elite Wolves. Luccini looking to tie up the series for a 1-1 score in the group stage. Elite Wolves looking for the quick 2-0. Joining me here is Snugs on the co-caster Mike, and of course, Latrodectus Dota, providing the wonderful stats courtesy of St. Dev Stats too. So give them both a look if you can. Coming out to this early game, we talked about how we kind of liked Elite Wolves' early game a little bit more last game. I think they were the one with the Morphling, right? But Luccini, what do you think they stand this game? Do you think anyone definitely wins the offlane or the early game draft, or do you think it's a little bit more even?
I think it really is based, for me, it's based on the itemization of the Viper, just because the mech buildup, even if he has free farm, it just makes it so much slower momentum for the Viper going forward. And like you said, you want him, it's the safe lane carry, correct? So,
Van, boots first. Hate,
oh jeez.
Hate's gonna die here, but Van might
Yep.
also die. Yep, Van got first blood, but he ends up feeding his life for it, and M-God was not comfortable getting in for that follow-up Purify. So, a 1-for-1 for the first blood, and a split on the bounty rune. I
They're
think
still
that.
trading up there.
Wait, really? I mean, what more can you do against an Omni Knight? I think the sword cannot exactly trade that one. Definitely not without a moment of courage either.
Yeah, you got the ward to back that camp off too.
That was a very interesting. I mean, they both TP'd to that lane. So, okay, well, Van, I think, walked, but I guess was a little bit of a tinderbox from the start, and it definitely went up in flames there, 1-1 before the horn. That's not something you see every day. So Sword
Really
making
excited to
his
see
way
this mid
around.
matchup.
I mean, yeah, you were saying?
I just love Puck is such a smash hero, so it's a huge playmaking hero, and he's definitely got his work cut out for him. As you said, OD just wins lanes, wins games, so he's already getting harassed so much early on.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do against this? This Puck, I mean, you can phase shift to block out some of the damage, but you can only do it once every 6 seconds. It's not exactly the best way to get away from this Outer World Devourer, so. And meanwhile, the top lane, aggression is going back and forth, back and forth. It's proven to be a very, very tough lane. Now the Paralyzing Cast, but it's not going to bounce all that much at such an early level. Van will make his way in, but a moment of courage out for the Sword means trading hits with this Legion Commander is very difficult, if not suicide. So it looks like this duel lane maybe not working out as well as they had hoped, but in comes Masoku, Smash is there as well, but they're not quite able to get the slow out on Monsiati. Smash will move way forward, though. They just need the Troll Trap, and they get it. They're also able to get the enchant off as Sword will die in the top lane. Monsiati should go down here in the mid. One more second for the Illuser Orb. Is he going to pop it? Doesn't get the damage off on it, though, but needs one more right click. Comes through, gets it. So that kill going in the mid lane, but M-God on the top might also be dead. Needs one more right click out from Hate, but they're not able to get within range. So M-God will get away alive. A very nice kill for E-Wolves. Couple of kills, actually, for E-Wolves to get there, as they're now 3-1.
Yeah, they get Sword and they take out OD Monsiati as well. So those are two huge pickoffs. I'm surprised that a boost first Omni Knight is working out. I mean, typically you want to rush the Soul Ring just so you can spam. You have the lane sustain, but oh my gosh, yes! Orb of Venom on Omni.
What?
Run people down with the early level and Degen aura as well.
I mean, I like it, but I also kind of surprised. I mean, it's a really aggressive lane, so I guess it shouldn't really be a surprise. And Van will go to the jungle meanwhile and go ahead and farm that up. He's going to go for phase boots, by the way, allow him that extra chase potential. Doesn't exactly give him good attack speed, but with the overpower, you don't need good attack speed. And so M-God and Van will continue to jungle up, just boost their levels so that when they're ready to fight, they're going to be on top of their game. Of course, Sword is about to hit level 4. He's going for a 1-1-1 build to be the jack of all trades, but master to none. Hate is still level 2, so we have yet to see exactly what he's going to prioritize, but I imagine it'll be the cask with an aggressive lane like that. As Monsiati in the mid, he's just going to go down here, Smash solo killing him.
Well,
actually,
honestly, Masoku sent that Satyr Tormentor who blasted 3 shockwaves
okay, well,
at the OD, and not to mention the aura helping Smash just sustain in lane, so it
right.
looked like a solo kill, but there was a lot of help. That was a really key play that very
Yeah,
selfless from the Enchantress, kind of sacrificing your own farm just to make sure mid goes a little bit easier for it.
I mean, it's a very common thing to happen, too. I mean, Enchantresses are known for either the Satyr, the Wild Wing with the Tornado, or the Harpy with the Lightning. Bullshit Lightning, by the way. It's really turns out to be a hero that can win your mid lane for you. Of course, Smash making the right calls on when to go in, and Waning Rift being a very difficult thing for Monsiati to deal with, being a casting-intensive hero. So this is looking like a very powerful early game for E-Wolves that they've got set up with that Enchantress moving around with the creeps, as well as the offlane accomplishing exactly what it needed to accomplish and still proving to be a thorn in the side of Luccini. Only thing that might be going sort of south for E-Wolves is this bottom lane, as they've got Codigo and Fire muscling him down, but that's a small price to pay for the other lanes.
Yeah, and actually the LC is atop the CS board with the Viper, but those were neutrals as well included, because there was a stack and pull that was contested as well, so it's not all lane farms, it's not. Might be a slightly exaggerated stats right there. And the smoke actually on the Enchantress, so with the Centaur and the Wild Ring, I think they might be looking to go back on this OD. Get aggressive. I mean, he's already 0-2, which is absolutely huge for Smash, because he picked up both those kills.
Masoku, oh, they've actually got the Dream Coil, so they didn't need a Troll Trap. They're going to pop down with a Tornado. They've got everything for Monsiati when he comes out. Looks like they go for the stun, but it's not going to connect. There he goes, as Smash just going to go ahead and right-click him down. Looked like we might have seen a last-second cast, but not level 6. Monsiati had really nothing to deal with that there. Smash will be 2-0-1. Monsiati dropping 3 deaths before 6 minutes. This is trouble for your Outer World Devourer. I mean, we talk about how he wins lanes, but that's 1v1 situations that he wins lanes, and the Puck certainly the pick to seem like is doing most of the work, and the Enchantress, of course, supplementing a lot, but maybe this is the counter. Maybe this is the pick. Whenever you see an OD, just grab the Puck, and you have a lot better of a chance at winning that lane.
Yeah, I think Puck's a really overlooked hero in this patch, especially recently. It's just like he's not even there, and it just offers so much. And I think also people don't understand that he's actually a pretty damn good right clicker. So as far as CS goes, and he can trade pretty well. I mean, obviously he's not gonna be able to compete with Arcane Orb later on, but at the same time, he's doing pretty damn good. And the short cooldown on his ultimate and all of his skills actually helps out a lot too. So they help the aggression. Actually, this Witch Doctor's in for a hell of a time.
Yep, they have the enchant. Looks like not 13 seconds on the board, but Smash is going to go up. Pops the Waning Rift, pops another Dream Coil. Worth.
They missed both the Centaur stumps again. Or they used one, but yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Maybe
they get themselves a Witch Doctor. Not too terrible of a little kill for them, but that was a lot of commitment for it. One interesting thing to note here, Codigo on the bottom lane, of course, with Fire. They're very aggressive. They're very tough to lane against. But Ewo, all he has to do is hold on to a TP scroll, and there is nothing to cancel that TP. Fortune's End does not cancel channels, so I mean, he just TP'd out in that last or before that last engagement, and was able to get away low, very low, but alive. So well played, holding on to that TP, being sure to use it. MGod's going to get some solo experience in the top lane as Ewo rotates into the mid with Masoku. They're going to go ahead and push down this tier 1 tower with Van rotating into the jungle for some extra supplemental farm.
Yeah, and this actually helps out the Omni-Knight more than we realize, because it's a very aggressive build like you discussed, the Boots and Orb. It's kind of an all-in, because now he doesn't really have a lot to offer his team, so now he's just going to get the levels, they're going to pick up some gold.
Oh man, call down on the Witch Doctor in the mid lane behind the tier 1 tower, and that's a lot to kill him with. So another big set of spells used to bring down a support, but these picks are opening up the towers, and now they're going to get a Dream Coil on the Monsiati with the Rocket Barrage. Evo is going to bring him down. Now chasing onto Fire. Do they have another enchant? They do. Fire is as good as dead. 9-1. Okay, actually no. He's going to survive. Wow. All right.
What's first, baby?
That seems to be the play. Codigo going to make his way around. Will bring down the summons. Now Masoku's in a bit of trouble. They've got the Nature's Attendants. Looks like they want the Paralyzing Cast, but they're not going to be able to get good bounces off of them, so why spend it? Now we'll get it for a little bit of a stun as he walks in close to the neutrals, too. Interesting to note, but in the end, it will be a death as Legion, also the sword, dies in the top lane after bringing down MGod while that all was happening. Meanwhile, Van, on a third front, will bring down Roshan. So a whole lot happening right there.
The Roche King last game, and he's going to do the same exact thing this time as well.
Oh yeah, that's right, with the Nature's Prophet, the early Roche, except that was like 6 minutes after where it was now, but looks like they're going to have a Disrupt out. Astral Imprisonment on Ewo in the mid lane. There are plenty of heroes here, so so long Gyrocopter, but rotations did come in. Smash is waiting in the wings. He's got a Blink Dagger, 9 minutes with that Blink Dagger. Not too shabby. Of course, there isn't really that much he can initiate on. Maybe he wants to solo out Codigo. Ends up going for it. Waning Rift, anything? No, he's going to chase him down now with a Dream Coil after waiting quite a bit of time. They've got MGod close by with a Purify and the Waning Rift and the Illusory Orb. They'll get the kill. Viper, not known to be a hero that goes down that quickly, but I guess if you've got a Purify to supplement, Smash does do enough damage.
Yeah, that's why we were kind of wondering about the early overcommitments with all the spells, but that's why. He's a part of 7 kills, 8 with that last one. A lot of early gold,
man.
gets the Blink
Sword,
Dagger early.
he was looking for the duel. There is going to be Disrupt, but the duel does come out. It's a level 1 duel, so he should get this kill, and does. 747 gold for him, as well as a duel win. The second one, actually, of the game, as I believe the first one was on MGod in that engagement we were talking about. Sword now caught in a lot of trouble here, as there is Masoku. There's going to be a paralyzing cast, which is really great when you've got all sorts of summons and illusions and creeps around. Sword will get another kill, looks in for Ewo, but is not able to bring that one down. Ewo's going to TP out, and once again, there's nothing you can do about that. So even though Luccini, they go ahead and grab 2 kills, the Sword will end up paying for it, and MGod may also be dead as well.
My soul is ready to be seen.
That was a lot of exchanges in a lot of different places. And actually, they're back.
I'll dig that.
Yep, Smash
Blink
and
Dagger
Van.
as well. Yeah.
I mean, does Van have a Blink Dagger? No, he does not. He actually went Mask of Madness, but Phase Boots was on cooldown, so he can't get past Smash. They've got a Purifying out onto Codigo, or at least a Fortune's End to bring off any sort of stun. They just need one more swipe, though, but the Fate's Edict will keep him from attacking for a short time. Still is able to get it off as another duel. This time the Sword shouldn't win it, but the Purifying Flames does end up securing the kill. Evil's there. They've got the call down. They want fire. Just need one more right click to bring him down. They've got him. Back on the other front. They're going to go ahead and pop out a Death Ward. Van will drop, but only his first life. Masoku now taking some damage from Monsiati, who has now been turned around on. They've got the impetus, but only 2 of them before he runs out of mana. An Astral Imprisonment out onto Van. Still no Blink Dagger, so he can't continue chasing effectively. Wow. All right, that was a brawl to end all brawls.
It's like a 4-minute engagement, or at least 3 minutes after the Blink Dagger came online. Just 2 after 2 after 2, just going in, going at it. But
Yep.
I mean, who really came out in the end? I think E-Wolves is still ahead, actually. Yeah, they've dipped a little bit in their lead, but overall still favor E-Wolves quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, that dip didn't really last all that long either. They're right back up where they were originally, and they should be able to continue climbing. I mean, their net worth board is favoring them. They've got the Ursa and the Puck, Ewo and Smash both on the top of the net worth, which is a lot better, I think, than where they were last game. I think it was more of a trade between Ewo and Codigo, but this is a lot better, and it's the Sword, actually, who's got the 3rd highest with a couple of his dual wins plus the farming speed he's been having. Even though the top was really aggressive, it does seem that he kept his own, and being able to jungle effectively, definitely a plus for the hero. But Codigo, the carry for Luccini, is dropping very far behind, about middle of the... Okay, now 4th highest in the net worth, so Caster's Curse. But that's Van, actually, not Ewo on the top of the net worth. Ewo is actually a lot lower, as another duel onto Smash. This will be another win. The Sword getting some damage.
This is one thing I mentioned earlier too with the Viper. I mean, he's gonna have the mech and what 300 gold, but at the same time, it's just such a slow build-up. Like, they're not getting it as quick as they wanted to. I mean, the Viper had great farm early on, but he died twice, and now it's just kind of slow. And he's their hard carry, right? So I mean, yeah, the duels are coming online for the Legion, but the Viper's just gonna be so slow to really be able to make a big impact here, other than the mech.
Yep. And the thing about Viper versus Gyrocopter, because they're both in a similar boat, the thing is Gyrocopter farms a lot better. So even though Viper's got a huge presence without items in the early game, Gyrocopter gets his items and ends up out-carrying him a lot better. So the fact that they're in an equal footing is a lot of trouble to Codigo, but... Oh, man. Smash will go down. They're going to blink on top of fire to bring him down. Now they want Monsiati. They don't have a Dream Coil, but they might have enough damage. No, that TP is fast enough to get him out of there. Hate. Seeing some hate as Ewo's going to dive him past the Tier 2 tower. Just needs one more right click and gets it off. Codigo's going to slow down Ewo, though, underneath the Tier 2 tower. This could be huge if Codigo gets this kill. Unfortunately, he will not. MGod is there, maybe his secondary target, but neither one in any real danger. In fact, Codigo even losing the the last hit on the troll to the siege creep, as the tower, Tier 1, bottom lane, does go down. Ewo now in as much trouble as he was before, trying for a TP, but this time, yeah, they've got some way to cancel it with the Astral Imprisonment, and Ewo is very much dead. Grounded as a Gyrocopter, but E-Wolves are going to go ahead and take a top Tier 1 as sort of a Pyrrhic victory off that end. I mean, again, it's Van who's been having a fantastic game, so maybe he's just their one position now, and leave Ewo to be more of an insurance policy if necessary.
Yeah, I think let Van do his thing, make space, and keep getting the kills all over the map while Ewo continues to farm and secures the late game for him. I think that's perfectly okay.
So I think we're going to be seeing a Dragon Lance being completed. Yeah, Masoku with the Courier bringing out that Dragon Lance. Some extra attack
Gosh.
to range as... Alright, they got to stop this blink and immediately blow someone up stuff. They get another kill on Hate. Van getting a little bit of revenge for the kill that happened by the Roche Pit. But now we've got the Sword and Fire. Maybe looking for a follow-up. Fire can try to initiate with a Fortune's End, but it's up to the Sword to get in close. He's got himself Phase Boots and Drums, which gives him some nice movement speed. But as far as his damage goes, I think he's relying purely on the duels. Looks like he's building into a Blade Mail, though, which seems to be the more popular item on this hero and can definitely be very good against someone like the Gyrocopter as Van. Smash will go down to Codigo, who's looking for more kills. Now spots MGod and Van, but this is not quite something that you want to find here. Monsiati also dropping very low to the Purify. There is going to be a Guardian Angel. It means Codigo is pretty much useless. Same with Monsiati as they bring down Monsiati. Now Codigo with the Rocket coming out. Masoku, though, duel out, trying to help out Van, who's getting dueled, but Sword is still alive. They had the False Promise, so we cannot lose that duel. There's now a Death Ward. MGod dropping very low. The Purify, though, will hurt Sword a lot, but Iwo is dropped back with the very low HP. No one yet. I mean, aside from the 4 that have already dropped, it has gone down. Masoku could be in a bit of trouble. Paralyzing Cast, but it will not bounce. Codigo's there. Same thing with Sword. Masoku in a lot of trouble. He will drop. Now MGod also in a lot of trouble. The last right click gets him. Trying to smoke away from it, but it won't work. Now Smash wants some revenge. Goes out onto Hate, but has to orb out because the mechanism proving to be a little bit too much for him. Now he's caught in the trees, but Luccini have no real way of spotting him out. Because, well, Overwhelming Odds doesn't give them the vision they need. So now they'll come in onto the Sword. They hit him with the Waning Rift, and they bring him down. An interesting kill to happen after all said and done. The rest of Luccini back off.
That's what Luccini needs to do. They have the mech and then didn't actually use it until the last minute or so. The Viper and the OD were pushing bottom and fighting without the rest of the team. You get the mech, you want a team fight, but I think they're kind of worried that Ewolf's team fight's a little bit stronger just because Ursa's so far ahead right now. And the Gyro ultimate with very low cooldown and then Dream Coil, I think they're just worried. So they took that fight and actually with the rest of the team coming in, they're actually able to trade fairly well.
Yeah, I was surprised how well they were able to, but in the end, I mean, Sword has been having a huge impact on some of these fights. The fact that he went down, I think, is pretty important for E-Wolves, but just him doing somewhat well is equally as important for Luccini. And now he'll have that Blade Mail completed. Monsiati doesn't seem to have a whole lot of items. 0-5 and 3 with 80 last hits to his name, but the Drums of Endurance have been completed, so it's a double drums for Luccini so far, but no real other item. He's gone for the Ogre Club, but not quite sure what he's going to be building into after that. Van making his way in, though. Smash also with the Blink Dagger. Looks like, are they going to scout Roshan? He's about been 20 seconds, so the Roshan isn't a good option for them, but it looks like Masoku's looking for some kills. Hate, a little bit too far back.
Yeah, they're just gonna miss seeing they're scouting out the Roshan, which is unfortunate. Actually, no, the Masoku's there, so he'll probably see. Oh my gosh, gonna miss it by 5 seconds.
Oh, there is gonna be a Dream Coil out onto the Sword. No dueling for this guy, as he gets brought down. And classic counter to the Blade Mail. Well, Enrage. I remember back in the Bloodseeker days when Bloodseeker would just buy Blade Mail and instant win games. Ursa tended to be one of those things that you just pick against him. As he goes right into the Roche Pit now, should be able to make quick work of the big guy. And the rest of E-Wolves will go on to the Tier 2. So now we've got a split in the action here, where they either defend the Roche or they defend the Tier 2. It looks like actually E-Wolves will not give them that choice as they go all in for the Tier 2. Actually, I have no idea what their plan is here. Van will make his way back in. There is visions. They know that he's in there. The rest of the Luccini, though, will go up. They go in with a Glimmer Cape on Hate, looking for an initiation with the Paralyzing Cast, but are not able to find it. Meanwhile, Roshan dropping pretty low. They've got the minus armor on him, which is super effective with Ursa. So Viegas goes down. Van still has Repel, blinks immediately up to the Ancients, and now wants fire, but Repel isn't exactly helping him chase anyone down. The Sword, Hate, and Monsiati are all closing in on this one. They want to bring down Van. Pops into the Overpower, though. Hate's there, close by. They need the Repel on this Ursa. But it looks like, no, Luccini aren't going to initiate into this one. Instead, it might be the other way around. No! Oh, man, it's, nothing's really happening.
So there's a diffuser blade on the Ursa,
Yep.
and I think that's maybe for press the attack. I'm sure it's for to help counter Oracle a little bit too,
I mean, it's a
and
great
or
item
just
for
to run
Ursa.
people down. Just to
Yep,
run
I mean,
people down apparently.
it
Blade
works.
damage. Oh my god, blade mail doing so much damage.
Yep, Monsiati, though, taking a bit of damage, but they've got the Fate's Edict and Purifying Flames on him, so he's going to regen pretty quickly. The Glimmer Caves were not quite enough to save Sword. Now Van wants more. He goes in for fire. They burst him down, and they're not done. They go in for hate. Diffusal Blade number 3, I think. Ah, it's actually 4. Wow. Van dropping pretty low. The tower hit should be enough to secure his life, but that is only an Aegis Immortality. So Van will be coming back up, fresh, large, and in charge. And they should be able to bring down another tier 2 for their trouble.
I mean, I don't even know what you do as Luccini right now. Your team fight's weak, your heroes individually are weak, you can't split push. Your high ground is okay, I guess. You're really kind of pigeonholed right now.
Well, this is the problem with Legion Commander, because she's great at single target, but once the 1v1 engagements start breaking down and you start to include more people in the equation, it becomes more of an issue of, sure, you go after one target and you lock them down for some time, but even if you kill them, you leave Legion as a sitting duck. If you don't kill them, then really was it worth it to try? And if you end up losing a duel, I mean, it ends up being a double-edged sword. So Legion tends to have these issues in a draft where if she is one of the major cores, like either the offlaner, the mid, or the safe laner, she doesn't carry very effectively. She needs a lot more to back her up, and right now, who's backing her up? Codigo? Yeah, I mean, good joke. He's going for a Diffusal Blade. This is a game of Diffusal Blades, I guess, but, I mean, add on another slow on to what he's already got, I guess it's useful. But in the end, I mean, it goes right back to what you were saying. Their team fight isn't exactly the strongest, and it won't really get that much stronger from here on. I mean, they've got a whole bunch of mid-game heroes with nothing like a Spectre or a Luna or anyone that kind of carries into the late game. As Ewo dueled up on the top, do they have enough damage? It looks like they barely might not, and they don't, but Ewo will still die. No! He's still alive. The sword, he just needs one more overwhelming odds. Instead, will go for the right click, but the stun! Oh, he doesn't get it off. Pops his blade mail. Now Masoku getting caught a little bit out of line here. Actually, Ewo did end up going down. Not quite sure how, but he dropped. Actually, no, he popped the blade mail. It was a call down. The second hit that killed him. Okay, that makes a lot of sense as they bring down Smash as well. Oh, boy.
They're pretty good at chasing people down. That's one thing they're good at. I didn't mention that. They're pretty. And actually, the diffuse on the Vipers, I almost exclusively for the Omni Knight. So
This is true, yes.
remove Repel, remove Guardian Angel, help out a lot. But as far as Viper's kit, I mean, it gives them a little damage, some bonus armor, but that's about it. I mean, it doesn't really. The S and Y is really what you want. It gives them the move speed, a little more attack speed, help them farm a little quicker. But I mean, the Viper's pretty underwhelming. The OD, Dragonlance drums, not offering a whole lot here. It's not going to be easy.
I mean, and now we've got a Basher completed onto Van. This guy's only died twice in this game so far, which I guess makes a lot of sense, but you consider an Ursa, the hero that you really don't want to let snowball, is snowballing. And he's got plenty of backup too. Like, it's a similar situation to Luccini, except instead of having no one to really back him up and their power peak being now, they've got everyone to back him up and their power peak still hasn't hit. So they'll go on Sword. Of course they get a bash and they bring him down. So Legion's out 54 seconds without buyback. I mean, how does Luccini even try to defend this as Van is just going in for fire? There is a Glimmer Cape. Van doesn't have the Aegis Immortality. They pop out with a Fate's Edict. They'll Diffusal Blade him again. And this should be a dead Ursa. They come out with the Sanity's Eclipse just to secure the kill. Masoku caught with the Fortune's End, but it's not going to hold him in place for too long. Astral Imprisonment onto M-God. They don't have very many slows. Codigo's coming in. But Ewo, he's just waiting to turn around. They get a Diffusal onto Smash, but almost baiting it out as he was able to get away. They didn't have a silence or anything to follow up. And meanwhile, Masoku, he's still pretty far back. They want fire. Masoku, is it worth it paying your life for this one, though? There's green in the cover, but so that means fire will be able to heal up, and Masoku ends up going down behind, or at least not behind a tier 2 because no tier 2s are standing, but very close to the tier 3.
You know, I was just looking at all the item progression here for E-Wolves too. Even if a duel is able to be executed completely, there's so many things to stop it. Now, obviously, you have Omni Knight with the Purification. Yules is finished on the puck. Ursa just being inherently large and in charge. The passive for Enchantress just making him hard to take down, and the Gyro finishing BKB and him building stats with SNY. So he's not. I mean, they tried dueling him before, and he wouldn't go down. So
Yeah, well, he did eventually go down,
yeah,
just
but
didn't
no
give
dual
up
damage
damage.
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not easy for an LC this game, not at all. Or for a
Thinking not
Viper.
easy. Codigo taking a lot of damage here. They're going to go ahead, heal him with the Fate's Edict, Purifying Flames. Now they've got the Fortune's End. That will get off the Guardian Angel. Van trying to run away from this one, but he might not survive. They get a long-range Astral Imprisonment off, and that is one last Purifying Flames to bring him down. Masoku getting dueled under the tier 1 tower. They've got the Death Ward, which doesn't discriminate to the Untouchable. In comes Ewo with a call down. Wants Codigo. Should be able to bring him down, and Astral comes out to save his life. Ewo goes down. The sword with the Fate's Edict Purifying Flames now actually will end up dropping. There was no Purifying Flames. It was used on Smash. Now a False Promise on Codigo. He may drop. No more mana for Purifying Flames on Fire. He actually comes out on neutral, so looks like Codigo.
This is the time when Luccini's as strong as they can possibly be. So they're doing the right thing. They're being aggressive as possible. They're using everything they can. And now they're even turning into the towers too. They can actually push the T2 as well, because they still have plenty of time without Ursa.
Yeah, but they're going to show a little bit of respect, I think.
The mech's online, but yeah, I think they're just going to cut their losses. They're picking up big items. The BKB on the OD is going to be huge. Now we can start going for the end gain and just going for pure damage now. Or the
we
Hex,
talked
actually.
about BKB
The Hex
being a
is
super
huge.
important item on him too in the draft, so that I mean, I definitely think he'll probably go for something like a Hex or an Atos coming up on this one very soon. But in the meantime, I mean, definitely having that BKB should be enough to carry him through the next fight. And if they win the next fight, I almost imagine that we start to see Monsiati become that powerhouse that we were talking about him being, and prove to be tough for E-Wolves to bring down. But E-Wolves still have lots of carry potential. Even though they lost that last fight, it seemed like more of a drawn-out sort of one-by-one than a straight-on fight. So we'll have to see if E-Wolves fix that and go for the full-on team fight, or if they take another kind of iffy one like that.
Just to get a sense of how this game has changed, if you check out the XP graph, it's almost completely nullified. It went from 11k to almost 0. Gold's still quite a bit of a lead for Evils, but I mean, just bringing it back in XP from that, I mean, that disadvantage, that's just so ridiculous.
Yeah,
Great.
experience swings tend to be really, really crazy. And hey, Glimmer capes in looking for the paralyzing cask, but Ewo, he smells Witch Doctor and is able to pack himself away. So the split push will now commence a little bit for E-Wolves. They've got Van up on the top lane, but E-Wolf might not have gotten away so lucky. Sword chasing him down, but they've got no way to stop him, or at least the people who can slow him are really far back. Sword, though, going for the TP out. E-Wolf making use of this TP and trying to chase down, but there's no one for him to kill. Meanwhile, Roshan will be revealed by the tomato in the pit. And this should mean that that's their next target for E-Wolves, to go after the Roshan pit and bring him down before Luccini is able to react.
Yeah, you see how weak the Legion Commander is right there, with no real tool for initiation. Just really can't lock anybody down. It's great that the Viper and the OD are coming online, but this LC needs BKB, a Blink, just so many items still before she can really start to be effective here.
Oh man, Luccini are going to try to defend this now, but the Yule's going to buy plenty of time. Of course, there should be a cheese in the deck, but Van's going to go straight in for the sword. The badge is out. Fate's Edict, though, is going to stop him from attacking. Smash comes in with a Dream Coil on the backlines, but a BKB from Monsiati will get him away from that one. Sword will end up getting the duel win here as they bring down the first life of Van. M-God, though, he'll end up getting himself the cheese and being able to regenerate all that HP he just lost. As Luccini, they lose too. Van going up onto the high ground and waiting for the moment to re-engage, as Sword is going to go ahead and chase down M-God. No duel for 25 seconds. There is going to be a Purify as M-God goes ahead for the Repel and TP, and looks like M-God wasn't quite ready for that one, as he could have tried to attack and get the bash off, but well, was not able to do so. So it's a 2-0. E-Wolves, they use the cheese and the Aegis, but they get a couple of much-needed kills and, of course, give 2,500 gold to Van.
Yeah, that's nothing to sneeze at too, because he's working on what I'm hoping is an Abyssal, because The BKB is nice, but with the Omni always being around, it's not really necessary. He has almost 3k saved up, so I'm assuming this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm assuming that's what we'll see too. I mean, it's really a great damage item for him. The only thing that I could imagine might be a little bit more important than something like an Abyssal would be attack speed. So if he wants to opt for extra attack speed and drop his Mask of Madness, I would be on board with that one. But for right now, I'm definitely following along the Relic into the Abyssal Blade train of thought. We'll see what he decides to go for. 3,100 gold now amassed onto him. Looks like Luccini, though, they want to try to pull off another one of those team fights with their peak of the power curve here and maybe get another tier 2, if not, at least take a Rax off of a one team fight. But the Abyssal gets completed, and now things are starting to look a little bit troublesome. Sword, as we talked about, no real initiation power, can't find someone to duel and make the fight 4v5 immediately. Meanwhile, oh man, Hex on Smash.
I was hoping they'd stall this out because Smash was so close to finishing it, and he actually finished up just before. So they can sack this T2. They'll use the glyph by a little more time, but they're ready to go now.
Yeah, meanwhile, Codigo is sending out the poison like you cannot believe. Smash will get the deny, though. And that cuts a lot of the momentum from Luccini. It doesn't cut all of it, but it hinders them slightly. Smash scouting out for an initiation, but is not going to find anything with his Illusory Orb. Maybe trying to find someone in the trees, which he didn't. In the end, though, Smash and Ewo will make their way up top. Ewo is now second highest in the net worth, so has caught up quite a bit and more than surpassed Codigo with a Morbid Mask in his inventory. Probably going to be building into a Satanic from this point to become unkillable with a sizable amount of damage to back it up. Viper, Codigo has gone for the level 2 Diffusal Blade though, so full up on charges again, plus some extra agility and intelligence. Monsiati's got a plate mail, so possibly a Scotty being built by him. Scotty from Monsiati. Flare with the Ethereal or Aether Lens and the mechanism. Pretty decent for him.
You mean Shiva's?
Did I say Scotty? I've
said
done that
Scotty.
before.
Scotty from Monsiati.
Okay, yep, I've done that before. It is going to be a
worries,
Shiva's guard, not a
No
Scotty.
worries.
Or an Assault Cuirass. I mean, he could go for that attack speed. I doubt it,
Yeah,
but he
I
could
think
go
the
AC.
Shivas would be invaluable, like, especially against the
Yeah.
Ursa. The
Man,
Gyro's
that
still
is
going to be able to attack pretty much with impunity, but the Ursa would be definitely. So that's huge.
I thought I got past it. I guess I really wanted that rhyme to come through, man. Like, sometimes you want things more than actually are reality, but whatever the case, it is going to be an Aghanim Scepter. I don't think I screwed that one up. That's going to be picked up by Masoku. I don't think it's possible to screw that one up. As Smash will come in, immediately hexes on the sword. This could be a big kill if they get it, but the False Promise will take it off him immediately. The Enrage on the Van, but he is able to survive through it, and with the Guardian Angel, but they're able to bring it off or bring him down. In the meantime, Masoku in trouble. He'll end up dropping in the fountain. Oh boy,
Wow.
E-Wolves losing those two. That is huge for them, and it shows one of the innate weaknesses with the Ursa, and also the power of False Promise against things like hexes.
They were Viper was waiting to use a diffusal until Enrage and the Guardian Angel was on, so that's why there was a delay after Guardian Angel, and he just kind of fell because he popped a diffusal charge and just got melted. So this is the time if they want to be able to stay in this game, Luccini has to make a big play here. No buyback obviously on there, so just finish the
And they definitely can.
Abyssal.
They definitely can end it if they can get some creeps. I mean,
Yeah, backdoor protection.
they're fighting through it, which is nice. There is a no glyph, so it's not like A-Wolves can pull that cheeky, wait for it to get fairly low. Wait, backdoor protection, you're supposed to go down. There we go. All right. That was kind of awkward.
Well, almost everyone's up now, so they might only be able to get the melee racks, but that's still really huge.
No, that's fantastic for them. Smash is going to try to bring down Codigo. They've got a Dream Coil, but they've got multiple ways to help him out here. So Ewo is in the Repel, still chasing down. They've got, oh, they're actually going to duel Ewo. They purge off the Repel, but they've got nothing more to save Ewo. Sword will get the duel win. 67 seconds does have buyback as Van a little bit too deep. He goes down. And oh boy, this could be it for E-Wolves. The Sword is going to get brought down on the backline, so paying for his duel. M-God gets dropped, though. Monsiati This is a real big baddie right now. Codigo also proving to be very difficult to deal with. And what do you do without Van? I think they'd have to buy back Ewo here if Luccini go for another set of racks, but unfortunately there are still 2 tier 2 standing, so they can't exactly do that. Meaning Ewolves doesn't have to buy back, but man, if that doesn't make things very ominous for Ewolves, I don't know what does.
Yeah, the only thing really hurting Luccini here is their early game lack of push. Their inability to take the early towers, so they really can't capitalize on their advantage here. But still, I mean, you see what the OD has pretty much everything he needs. It took him a while to get online, but he has the Dragonlance, the BKB, and now that he's starting to build Int, it's gonna get just terrifying from here on out.
And I mean, he doesn't exactly have a whole lot of items too by any stretch. I mean, his only 2 major items are BKB and Shiva. Yeah, Shivas. So, I mean, it just goes to show you how much this hero can impact. And I thought after the 05 start, he was going to be a sort of null factor. If he did get strong, it would be sort of kind of a little backup role here. But no, he's taken front and center stage. And of course, the sword constantly looming over E-Wolves is a big trouble for them. And Fire proving to be one of the better supports in this game. Constantly there with the dispels, with the heals, the false promise becoming the MVP spell of the game. I mean, E-Wolves, they still seem strong, but Van's backup, Ewo just doesn't seem to be doing as much damage as we had hoped he'd have been doing at this point in time. And Masoku, I mean, I don't think I've seen him have a significant impact since the laning stage.
Yeah, well, you touched on the 0-5 start, you really kind of worry about it, but I mean, now he's the top of the net worth, he's tied for the highest level in the game, and his team is just making everything happen, whereas, like you also, as you mentioned, on E-Wolves, in the Ursa, yeah, he's doing so great, and E-Wolf has a lot of farm, but you said before that he's probably going to go Satanic and become unkillable. Well, that's because he went stats, so he's unkillable, but he's also unable to kill. So, without the damage, he's just not providing anything, so... It's a double-edged sword. You can build tanky so you survive, but I mean, they can't take out the OD. And the Viper's just kind of sitting back and doing whatever he needs to. He's got the mech, he's got the Fusel, he's got Manta finished up now. They have pretty much everything they need. I think they might want to wait for Aegis though, just to be safe here.
Yeah, taking that Aegis out from Van, who has gotten every single one up to this point too. That's a major thing to have. And I mean, we talk about Van. Most of the team fights he's won has been with the Aegis Immortality. So you remove that from him, and you see, I mean, the real power of the Ursa is being able to just YOLO in. But if you can't YOLO in, especially against a hero like Monsiati, who can slow your attack speed, disrupt you, and overall just burst you down, Codigo, who can also slow you down, I mean, the kiting potential through BKB and the ability to remove the repel is way too big from Luccini. I think they itemize near perfectly for this game, and they've also got a couple of fantastic heroes to deal with Van.
Yeah, they scout Roach as soon as he responds too, so it's like, it's absolute perfect timing here.
Ewo's got a Butterfly though, and a Haste Rune. He's making his way down, but I don't know what he finds. If they can purge off that Haste Rune, and yeah,
oh my
Ewo
gosh.
got him.
I think they have to sack Roach now.
They might be sacking a whole lot more than Roche with a 70-second timer for the Gyrocopter to come back alive.
How do you feel about the Butterfly pickup in general, though?
In general, it would be good if they were just defending high ground, right? Because he doesn't need the extra tankiness. He can just go right back to Fountain if he needs to, use the movement speed to get him there. But it's great when you get solo dueled behind your tier 2 and your team can help you. Otherwise, I don't know. Fire might be dying by the Roach Pit, but he's still alive. Masoku's there trying to help, but Mgaz's taking way too much damage. They've got the Death Ward coming through, but it's not quite enough. The Astral Imprisonment locking Masoku. They've also got the Fortune's End. And Masoku, even though he's prancing around, trying to run, trying to hide, they're going to go ahead and bring him down. 2 left alive. Van's actually going to get a solo kill on the sword up in the top lane.
Yeah. Van and Smash are doing their best to split push, but I mean, getting that kill is probably the best thing that could have happened. I mean, other than that, they're really just acquiring more CS, saving up for buyback, and all that kind of...
Yeah. I mean, this is buying time. It's really good for them that they're buying time, but it's also really depressing as, I mean, playing from 1 racks down, losing the Aegis being your most important item this game, there's just things that really hit your morale. And Van and Smash, gotta give them credit for continuing to press and try to drag this game back. But I didn't think I was going to be saying this, by the way, dragging it back for Eagles. They had such a huge advantage coming around the 20-minute mark. But the power of Luccini, I mean, they caught me by surprise and showed that their power curve maybe lasted a little bit longer than I thought it would. And now it might be coming off of it finally, but the damage has been done. The advantage has been seized, and Luccini are in the driver's seat.
The only thing that's worrying me now is that the Viper looks to be going for an MKB, which I get it, you have to counter the Butterfly on the Wolves, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind seeing another Diffusal Blade, because he only has one charge left on the Diffusal too. I don't see anyone else building one. And that's what's been changing the game for them. I mean, yeah, the Hex is on the OD, so he's going to be hitting hard, but I still think they need the Purge. I definitely think that's going to be a requirement going forward.
If it's just the Guardian Angel, I think Oracle should be able to remove it, right, with the Fortune's End. But the Repel, yeah, that's a definite problem.
Well, that and Enrage as well too. So there's a lot of things that's
yes.
useful for. So it's I don't know, man. I love the MKB. It's definitely a necessity at some point, but I think that.
Well, at this point, I mean, you also rely on him for a little bit of damage, so it could be that they just want to be able to hit harder too. So, I mean, you buy another Diffusal Blade. What more does that give you than technically a couple of stats, because the mana drain doesn't stack. It just gives you extra charges. So, I mean, it's a lot of gold for an item purely for utility, whereas the MKB gives him some damage. We'll have to see, though, if it's going to make himself apparent, as he still doesn't have the MKB completed out to him yet. He has gold for it, but the smoke up, the blink out, the sword looking for Van. Do they have enough to save him? No, the Hex is going to stop Smash dead in his tracks. And now Smash in a whole lot of trouble, but he's going to be able to orb himself away. Guardian Angel out, M-God, it gets purged off of him. But that is the last of the Diffusal charges for Codigo. The problem is, though, they are down Van, they are down M-God. Codigo is just going to go straight in for the tier 4s. This could be an even series, 1-1 here, as Luccini, what are they going to do to stop him?
I don't think there's anything. There's no buybacks available. It's just, I think they're just done, unless some crazy Hail Mary play from Evo comes out here.
Yep, he drops down with the BKB. He's got lots of damage coming out, but, I mean, once the BKB ends, he is down and out for the count. 3 cores gone. Masoku the only... Okay, fine. Smash and Masoku, 2 cores left standing. Masoku might bring down the sword. No, Smash may get him. Yes! But, unfortunately, what exactly do you do? The sword's just going to go ahead and buy straight on back. Monsiati has taken all of this damage from the impetus and just right-clicking without impunity. Sword goes back in. Masoku dueled up. There's 2 pigs dueling each other. I'm pretty sure it's illegal in many states, but in the end, the Ancient will drop. Luccini will win, and the score will end 1-1. What a series! That definitely did not feel like the type of game that the betting odds were painting.
No, I'm sure there's a lot of upset people here, but at the same time, like we mentioned this like as they were drafting. This is a very mid-centric timing with the team with the draft, and as soon as they got their items, which like we both mentioned, they itemized flawlessly against Evil's draft. So props to them. Hell of a series. I wish it was a 3-game series. I want to see finality, some conclusion, but
yeah,
we got a treat today for sure.
Oh yeah, and it's the treat keeps on giving, as Luccini are playing a double header today. They're going to go ahead and face off against... Oh boy, I forgot their team name.
Monster PC, I believe.
Ah, there you go. Man, my man Snugs keeping up with things. So Monster PC will be the second game of the night. 8 o'clock EST, so that is in T-minus 50 minutes or so. So, guys, you've been watching Chicago Ted at TedCast on Twitter. Snugs at WolfIV, right? Wolf with an E?
Correct.
All right, so go ahead. And at Latrodectus Dota, I don't think I can spell that one out for you guys, but I'm pretty sure a pop-up just came up, so go ahead and follow her, as well as St. Dev Stats if you can. In the meantime, guys, we're going to take a short, probably 50-minute break.